I learned early not to listen to how the coach said anything. Just listen to what the coach said. What's the message in there? Just hear the message for what it is. Don't hear the message for how it's being delivered. Because now when I'm in sales and I'm getting some red lights from a prospect or even a client, I don't take it personal. I don't react emotionally. It's not always easy. I'm not perfect at that. Nobody is, but it's kind of given me the strength or the courage or whatever you want to call it to just kind of drill down and get to the root of it.
I'm Ashley Bourne, and this is the Sales Gravy Podcast. Quick heads up, Jeb's new book, The LinkedIn Edge, releases October 6th, 2025. It's a no-fluff, step-by-step playbook for combining LinkedIn with AI to build bigger, better pipelines so you can make fewer cold calls and have more meaningful conversations. Inside, smart targeting, AI-accelerated research, message frameworks that convert multi-threaded buying committees, and turning your network into a lead gen engine. Pre-order it now wherever you buy books. Now, today's guest, Steve Munn. Steve spent 9 seasons as a professional hockey defenseman across the CHL, AHL, and the EIHL, winning the Kelly Cup with the Atlantic City Boardwalk Bullies in 2003 and the Trenton Titans in 2005. These days, he brings that same grit, role clarity, and team-first mindset to sales as a risk advisor at Main Street, helping clients protect their businesses and build stronger operations. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today in Sales Gravy Studios. I'm going to kick it off with the first question. Reflecting on your 9-year professional hockey career, what were the pivotal moments that led you to consider transition into sales, and how did you navigate that change?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. As I was transitioning or getting ready to transition out of playing hockey for a living and get that big boy job I'd kind of been putting off for a while. The biggest things for me were just, I wanted to, provide for my family. I had a wife and a couple of young kids, and I thought sales suited my personality. Very outgoing and, I love meeting people and that all the good things about just being an extrovert and just getting out there and meeting new people and fostering relationships. I just felt I was naturally good at it, and I got my bachelor's of science in management, and I got an MBA when I was playing in the UK. As well. And so, business was always, front and center for me on what I was going to do after hockey. But, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't money motivated. I liked the idea of controlling my own destiny and giving myself a raise, and earning that raise every time. And, just being competitive, being, I wanted to keep that edge because I knew I was going to miss playing hockey, and I do miss playing hockey. I still dream at night about playing, and I think at my core I'll always kind of be a hockey player first and whatever else second. It was just a natural transition for me, and I've done okay. I always do better. The commission checks can always get better, but those are the kind of the big motivating factors why I went after sales.
Can you tell me a little bit about your first job in sales and kind of some of the hard lessons you learned and how hockey provided you with some of the skills to work through that?
Yeah, so my first big boy job was with the company doing industrial sales. I inherited a few accounts, nothing great. So there's definitely some pressure to grow the business. And so basically I was calling on anybody with a maintenance department. So it was factories, it was fleet shops, equipment rental places, at golf courses, and a lot of no's. I mean, there wasn't a great track record of sales reps with the company I was working for historically. And so there was a lot of preconceived ideas on the company and the people and that had come before, and so I had to cash a lot of checks other people had written, which wasn't great. Ultimately, I think just, the grit, the discipline, the ability to just practice and get better and to learn, kind of set me up for success. And, a couple of years in, I was, winning sales trips for the company, being in the top 50 in the company. We were, publicly traded. And so the trips to Jamaica and Turks and Caicos were pretty nice. It's good little motivation. We had a team, but we never really got together except for a couple times a year. So I did miss like the team aspect of it. I was all alone. My manager kind of set me up and then realized I was going to be okay. So I never really saw him, which was also okay, so I didn't really have the coach in my ear all the time because he just kind of trusted me to do well and do the right thing and to ask questions when I needed help. And, but yeah, I did miss the team element of it, because you're just all alone. You're on an island and just meet with the customers. And I guess in a sense, my customers, I ended up being part of their team, and I think that was kind of an aha moment really for me when I realized like, my good clients, that kind of saw me as an extension of their team and I could contribute to their success. And so that was good. When I made the decision to leave that company, it was hard to leave those customers behind and those relationships. But, it was a good choice. It was a good choice.
Oh, I love that. Speaking of your aha moment and recognizing that what you were doing for your customers put you on their team,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure contributed to success in retaining those accounts. What were some of the challenges that gotten to work through with those people as your team?
I think a lot of it was just being able to, when there was something they needed right away, to be able to like make it happen, get it there, whether it's a shutdown or a critical piece of equipment's down, being able to, be reactive, responsive, but then also trust my team in the distribution center to jump on it. I had, people in our DCs on speed dial and I learned you need to look after your team. I know a lot of other sales reps would, call and cuss people out and things like that. And you get a lot more with sugar than you do with salt. Right. So, yeah, there's definitely some crazy moments. But I think because of my experience, knowing how to be successful in a team, I was able to have those relationships, because we were spread out all over the country with, distribution centers, different places, and I could trust them to kind of come through for my clients, and it was good. And then the clients appreciated that. So that was really nice. And, you just get more sticky when the pressure's on and you can come through. But also like, we would make mistakes and, I would make mistakes and, the way oftentimes those times when I screwed up turned into, the way I handled it, the way I owned it, also enhanced the stickiness and deepened the relationship because, they recognized that, I wasn't okay with what happened as well. And, made amends and, we got through it.
That's an awesome story of perseverance and just working with your team and being able to lean into them. And of course, but our audience doesn't. I grew up a competitive figure skater, so I was a lone wolf. And in my first introduction to sales, I was that person who's like, I can do this on my own. I don't need a team to lean on. And I learned very quickly that even in sales, when you are in control of your destiny, the mentors and the people that you surround yourself with help contribute to everyone's success, not just your own.
Yeah, definitely.
So, fun random question real quick.
Yeah.
Which was your favorite or most memorable team that you played on?
Oh gosh. I mean, that's like asking me which one of my kids is my favorite. I'm so lucky and fortunate. Like, my phone is buzzing in my pocket right now, and I know it's either going to be my group chat from my college, teammates and friends that I'm close with. I was really close with my team. I played 3 seasons in Sheffield in England. that core group of guys I'm still so close with. It's hard to pick a favorite. I think my favorite place to play was definitely in Sheffield. I played 3 seasons there, and we won championships each year as well. And the closeness that I had with those guys in that room, I wouldn't have traded a second of it. It was so much fun. We still have so much fun together, making fun of each other, and the best part was we were really good. We were just really good, and we had just a little bit of everything. We had a lot of talent. We had toughness. We had grit. We had speed. We had great coaches, and when you're in that environment where everybody's on the same page, pulling for each other, everyone's got their role. Everybody knew their role. They're happy in their role. I played on a lot of teams where guys, thought they should be getting more time or want a power play time or this or that. And why is this guy out in this situation instead of me? And it's just a cancer. And, those teams were special because guys didn't care. They did what they were asked to do. They knew their role. And it was just a lot of fun to be a part of.
Well, obviously, to achieve that level of success, it takes a lot of practice, and there's a lot you have to do to maintain that level of performance to win the championships. And it requires a strong mindset. And it's a very rigorous discipline to master mindset, just, keeping your eyes on the goal and doing what it takes to get there. How have those attributes influenced your approach to sales, and what parallels have you found between the two fields?
Yeah, I guess this is a mental toughness question, isn't it? I learned early not to listen to how the coach said anything, just listen to what the coach said. What's the message in there? And that was huge for me. When I kind of had that aha moment, was like, okay, he's screaming at me. He's putting together expletives and combinations I hadn't heard before. He's emotional. I learned that, if I reacted and matched that emotion, my head was going to be in a pretzel, and then I'm going to be useless. And so just hear the message for what it is. Don't hear the message for how it's being delivered. And I think that's been good for me, because now when I'm in sales and I'm getting some red lights from a prospect or even a client, I don't take it personal. I don't react emotionally. It's not always easy. I'm not perfect at that. Nobody is, but it's kind of given me the strength or the courage or whatever you want to call it to just kind of drill down and get to the root of it. And, it's helped me ask hard questions. It's helped me qualify better. I made a lot of mistakes, when I switched to, the role I'm in now, doing commercial insurance, being a kind of an outsourced risk advisor, trying to be a member of, my client's team. And it's served me very well because I've just got really thick skin. There's, my old job, part of it was getting punched in the face occasionally, and, even if I get a no from a prospect or, client decides not to, take this coverage or that coverage, it's maybe a bad day, but it's certainly not as bad as getting a shiner or a broken nose again. So, there's not a whole lot that my day to day can throw at me that's that difficult. I mean, there's ups and downs, and, sales is a roller coaster. You're really hot 1 minute and then you're in a slump the next. And as long as you just keep working the process and doing the activity and committing to it, it all works out, because, I just really believe you make your own luck, and, things might be bad right now, but you just got to work your way out of it. That's what I've done. My hockey career, I've done my old, my previous sales job, just work your way out of it. Current sales job, work your way out of it. Don't dwell on it. Have a short memory. Think about your next shift, not your last. So.
Oh, I love it. And I mean, everything you said goes exactly with how you play the game of hockey, how quickly it changes.
Yeah.
and what a team does to come back, what an individual does to come back. It's pretty impressive. And yeah, you're certainly not getting checked into the boards anymore, but the no's, I feel like probably sting almost as much sometimes.
Yeah.
During your time with the teams like the Atlantic City Boardwalk Bullies and the Trenton Titans, you were part of a championship winning squads. How did those high pressure experiences shape your ability to handle some of the challenges and setbacks in your career? I know we've touched on this a little bit, but
yeah. So I was really fortunate. I came out of college and went to Atlantic City, and that championship there was built on the foundation our coach Mike Avalon kind of set for us. And Javi, I didn't know it at the time, but Javi and I were going to be really important to each other the next 5 seasons, actually. So, as a rookie, knew my role, and my role was defensive defenseman. All right. So I'm the shutdown guy. I am not expected to provide any offense. That's okay. I had hands like feet. Like, I wasn't great with the puck. I just knew if I got my puck on my stick, get to somebody who's better at having the puck on their stick. I knew my role. Javi recognized right away that I was happy in that role. A lot of defensemen aren't. They want some power play time. I'm like, no, just give me the penalty kill. Give me the last minute of the game if we're up by a goal. That's what I want. The cool thing with Javi is he was planting seeds with us in training camp that we were going to be a championship team. And you just hear it enough. And then you start trusting his process, and you trust his system, and you see guys buy into it. And it's like it just turned into a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so, the lessons, I guess, out of all that is just, trusting your team. I mean, our service team that we have in our agency is fantastic. And I can't do my job without them, and at the same time, if I'm not taking care of our clients alongside them, and I'm not bringing in new clients, I mean, they don't have a job either. And so, same thing. We know our roles. We know what we're really good at. We know what we're not good at, individually, and we lean on each other for our different strengths, and we're winning. I mean, we're growing. My personal book of business is growing. Our agency's book of business is growing, and I guess, there's not really like all right, end of the year championship that we get to win, but, we celebrate the wins on the way. We get a good renewal, we celebrate it. We get some new business, we celebrate it. It's, I would say it's not exactly like being on a hockey championship team. We haven't poured beer on each other in the locker room and, drank out of the cup, but, maybe we need to start that. Maybe we need a championship cup. We can start, sipping some, who knows what.
I think y'all should, because many sales organizations have the championship belts, but I think you need to introduce the championship sales cup into the world.
Get a little Stanley Cup going on there. Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Somebody write that down. All right, I'm in.
So as a risk advisor at MAI Risk Advisors, relationship building is a key component of your role. You were just mentioning this. I want to dive into that a bit more. So what strategies have you employed to cultivate and maintain strong client relationships? And how did your background contribute to this?
Yeah. So I think I mentioned before, I try and see myself as an extension of their team. Right. So I think of myself as an outsourced risk advisor. So I want them to feel like I am, just an extension of their operation. I get to know my clients extremely well. When I meet with prospects, I don't know how many times I've heard man, you're asking me questions no one's ever asked me before. And, in our business, you're constantly trying to break up long relationships. The sales cycle in commercial insurance is extremely long, or it can be extremely long. And people are just kind of used to the way their advisor takes care of them. And so I guess at the most basic level, most people are just kind of used to having their insurance agent be their vendor. They're just a vendor. They're selling them a policy. And then they see them at their renewal, And so a lot of times, I meet with a prospect, I'll ask, I always ask qualifying questions, because if I have to understand exactly how their relationship is with their current agent. And, I've kind of got a series of questions that I go through, because I'm interviewing them as much as they're interviewing me. Because if it's not a good match, if it's not a good culture match, if they don't want the engagement that I want to provide for them, if they're just 100% price driven, I just want a lower renewal. I want a lower renewal. I mean, everyone wants a lower renewal, but is that the right thing for your business? Like, what are we missing, right?
In a previous conversation you and I have had, you've mentioned that and identifying the clients that are a good fit for your business. That's something that Jeb also talks about.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started in sales, that was definitely an instinct, I guess is a good way to put it, that I had to develop myself.
Yeah.
So I love hearing other people talk about it because I think as a whole, salespeople miss that a lot because we are so money motivated. We are just looking at the quota, and what it contributes to those lasting relationships is monumental because as you've said, you're on their team. You are their trusted advisor.
Yeah.
It's that rapport that you've built and it goes such a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. And it's so cheesy to say this, but like, I started my adult life making my living as a defenseman. I guess I still really am. I'm playing defense for my clients, right? So, and the way I engage, if like, I do a discovery phase, and most of my competition will just be like, give me copies of your policies, let me get the loss history, and then we're gonna shop it, and we're gonna just see if we can get you something cheaper. And when's your renewal? Because we'll do it in the 60 to 90 days before your renewal. I don't like to work like that. I want to work with them after the renewal. I don't want a deadline. I don't want to be held down by like, we've got this sprint to the finish for, June 1st or, April 1st or whatever. I want to have time to know you because I may not want to take you to market right now. I want, my job is to create competition for you. And there might be 3, 4, or 5 things that we can fix or we can address. Can we eliminate that risk? If we can eliminate it, let's eliminate it. Can we mitigate that risk? Can we we make this change or that change, get some training? Like, let's mitigate. All right. Can we transfer risk? Let me see your contracts. Like, what's in those? Do you know what's in your contracts? Because maybe there's an opportunity to transfer some risk, right?
I think the recent, Augusta was affected by Hurricane Helene, and I think that's a great example of what you don't know is in your policy. And do you have a player on your team that can actually speak to it and help you in that time?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you had a lot of people knocking on your door after that.
Yeah, the hurricane was something because, it was like, this is the test, right? Like, this is the test to find out if we did our job well or not. And so, I trusted my team, I trusted myself. But you just don't know, right? And so as the days after Helene kind of stacked up, the anxiety, the worry was slowly kind of getting replaced with relief and confidence. And honestly, I just can't thank my team enough because, we looked after the details and, we passed the test, and that was just it was great in a terrible situation where people lost so much, lost their homes, and got friends that are still displaced, not in their homes yet. But, our clients were getting looked after, and that was just I guess maybe that was a weird way, a championship win right there. Going back to the original question, how does my history with the hockey come back to help with the clients and the day to day? And, it really comes down to, I just want to be a part of the team, and I will be part of the team. And you might not be used to having this guy in this role as part of your team, but dang it, it's going to be better for you if I am, because the better I know you, the better story I can tell. If your guy's not creating competition for you, getting underwriters excited, because underwriters they're salespeople too. Like they got numbers to hit. They've got They get bonuses on the business they place. And that's my job, is to get them excited about your business. And so when I do that discovery phase and be like, look, man, like we gotta fix this and that. And then we're going to take you to market. Cause if I take you to market right now, you're just okay. Like let's work together. Let's fix some things and then take you to market with a much better story. And then I can say, hey, look how proactive these guys are. Look at the training they're investing in. Look at the telematics they put in their fleet. It's, got the GPS tracking and the hard braking and the cameras. Like that's a much better risk than they were 6 months ago. It's a good culture. It's progressive leadership. That angle has worked very well for me. It's worked well for us as an agency. And frankly, I think it's refreshing, I think, for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for everyone. I mean, I don't know, I don't know how many times I've been like, look, man, you're asking way too many questions. Like they get suspicious. Like, are you like, is this a interrogation here? I'm like, nah, I'm just trying to get to know you. I'm on your team. Trust me. Here to help. But ultimately it's about getting people to a better place and setting up to be profitable and stay out of the ditch. And then it's worked well. So.
I love it. Well, I have 2 more questions for you. So I'll start off with advice you would give your younger self as an athlete, and then advice you would give yourself starting out in sales.
Advice the younger athlete, Steve, would be, you deserve to be there. I think I had impostor syndrome, big time. I was always like shocked when I made the team. And that's kind of comes from, you mentioned I got hands like feet. I wasn't great with the puck, but man, I would work hard, and I knew I had to work hard. I had to be the hardest working guy on the ice because my lack of talent was an impediment. Right. So I got to be tougher than everybody. I got to be more physical than everybody. I got to be harder to play against than everybody. And so, the imposter syndrome was really real. Yeah, I think just have some confidence in yourself. I absolutely lacked it. I lacked, that kind of swagger that I came to. I felt like I had to earn it. And I did have confidence later in my career. I was very, very confident, but early on, like junior hockey, college hockey, and then getting into the minors, it was really hard. I lived in my head way too much. And, and I mentioned Javi, was a huge help for that. Cause he believed in me more than anybody, he brought me into Atlantic City and then a couple of years later, he traded for me when I got to Trenton. And cause he just knew, he traded for me at the deadline. He's like, if we're going to win a championship, I want Steve there. I've done it with him before. He knows my system inside out. He's going to buy in. He's a great locker room guy. And, Javi really kind of was a really important mentor for me, and helped kind of give me that confidence that I did deserve to be there. And I was an important piece of the puzzle. And I was contributing, usually if I was on the score sheet, it was in the penalty minutes column, not a lot of goals, not a lot of assists, but I was doing what he asked me to do and I was executing. And that was, so yeah, advice to younger Steve, athlete, you deserve to be there. You've earned it. Quit beating yourself up. You're getting beat up enough on the ice. You just, give yourself a little reprieve. Advice for younger sales, Steve. I honestly had the imposter syndrome too. Like, I got my first job there doing the industrial sales. There's so much to learn. I mean, I didn't know anything about hydraulics and fasteners, pipe fittings. I had all this stuff to learn. I don't know. I remember somebody asking me for some left-handed drill bits. I thought they were messing with me. And I was like, okay, yeah, left-handed drill bits. Like, I get it. Yeah, whatever, man. And like, no, like literally. And I just turned the page of the catalog. I was like, oh yeah, left-handed drill bits. That's really a thing. Okay. Just,
yep.
Just, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I first got started, when I made the switch, I was doing very well with the industrial sales. They'd offered me the job to be district manager for Georgia a couple of times. Same with South Carolina. It was like substantial pay cut. I'd have to travel like 4 to 5 days a week. I thought this is not a promotion at all. So I was looking to do something different. I had this really shiny education, got the management degree, the MBA. Be really nice to get this Canadian boy into some air conditioning instead of these factories and fleet shops, and really wanted to be in the boardroom instead of the shop floor. And so when I made the switch to doing the insurance, again, it's funny when the recruiter called me and asked me if I was interested in the job. I was like, insurance? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I think I'd rather jab a pen in my eye. That sounds terrible,
Yep.
And he's like, well, it's not an uncommon reaction. I want you to hear me out. And I did. And so it was, and again, imposter syndrome again, like I don't know anything, I don't know anything about this. And so I had to dive in. I had to, be a student. I was, the automobile university, listening to everything I could. I was just consuming everything I could to try and get better. And I had some great people training me. The Institute of Work on Professionals up in Asheville are fantastic. I'm really close with those guys. I've done a ton of work on that. Did some cyber insurance classes. Excellent. That's just something that's happening all the time. And so again, it was just, trust the process, Steve. You're going to get there. And guess what? If you don't know, you've got this team behind you that between everybody, we can get the answer, And so I know early I hesitated, in meetings, and I was even intimidated just even trying to set a meeting because if I go there on my own and I don't know the answer, like I'm going to look like a fool. And these people need to trust me with protecting their business. And, I often just forgot that it's not just me. We've got a team. Like we've got a team, and we do take care of our clients as a team. And so again, it's just, you deserve to be in this meeting, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve to be at the table, Steve. Like you're working. Your intentions are good. Like it's going to be okay.
No, I love that. I mean, so the first job in sales that I had was in automotive.
Yeah.
So I picked another hard discipline, B2C,
Yes.
not easy. And it was a very unique experience, but I remember the day that I made the conscious decision to change my mindset and stop being scared and just go do it.
Mm-hmm.
There was somebody that pulled up on the lot. I walked outside, looked around, and none of the other salespeople were outside, and went, I guess I'm up. I'm doing this.
Let's go.
And it's like after I got that first one under my belt, I went, this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can do this.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely like shifting that mindset and accepting it and really diving in, because after that, the rest, it just got easier every time. But still here at Sales Gravy, I have to do cold calling periodically.
Yes.
And I would be lying if I said I didn't have to get my mindset right for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So.
No, I it's funny. I'll, when I know I have to make a call block, if my mind's not right, like I got a couple buddies that are in sales and be like, look, man, I got this call block coming, man. Like I'm not there, and they're like, oh, you got it, man. Like they'll pump my tires a little bit, get me going again. They'll make me laugh, and it's so huge to get out of your head, get in a good positive frame of mind. Mm-hmm. I always do so much better on call blocks when I'm ready to be funny, when I got my guard down. I'm not trying to be like this perfect advisor and just wow them with my insurance knowledge. I do so much better when I've got the perspective. I'm going to connect with this person on the other end of the line as a human. I'm going to let my personality come out a little bit. Because man, when stuffy, uptight Steve makes cold calls, it goes over like a pregnant pole vaulter. It just doesn't. It's just like, it's not good,
Yeah.
And the frame of mind is so important. So I'm just grateful I've got some good buddies and they can kind of get me there. And it's funny because I'll do it for them too. I got this big meeting coming up, man. I don't know. I'm like, all right, well, let's talk it through. Like, you got this, man. You got it. And again, it's just, having extensions of your team. When you don't have it yourself, remember you got people around you to help you, and, cause everybody's got good days, bad days, and, we're not always at 100%, and that's okay. Allow yourself some grace. It's going to be all right, And,
Absolutely.
like when you walking on the lot selling that car, I mean, if they hadn't bought it from you, that's okay, maybe next time, so, that's a lot of my losses I've had where I really thought I had a chance to win it. I was beating myself up over it. And then, next thing you know, 6 months later, a year, 2 years later, they're calling like, man, something's changed. It's time, And, so, I try and think of the no's right now as maybe it's just a not yet. It's just a not yet,
Yes.
And that helps,
Yeah.
So it's you can't live and die by every cold call. You can't live and die by every even every no or shut door. 'Cause it's a process, and as long as you keep moving, it's going to be all right. So
Well, and it's such a win when you work the process and you do get that call back. Because even in automotive, I've sold telecom and a couple of other things as well. But in automotive, there's one sale in particular that this lead came in, and I worked it for 6 months for somebody to purchase a vehicle. But my conversations with them were much more around rapport building. I mean, obviously, I had tasks to complete for this customer and my outreach, but I would always base it around getting to know them. And that's honestly how I won a lot more in the end than just going for the sale every time and trying to close it faster.
Yeah, I've never won a deal because I've just wowed them with, did you know page 182 of your policy said this, and it means that. Like, people are like, I don't care, man. Like, am I covered? They don't care. They want to know that you got their best interests at heart. They want to know you're going to take care of them. They want to know that you're going to be there if something goes wrong. And that's it. I mean, it's so much about who you are as a person and the relationship you can build with them, and it's and that's good. It works for me because I like to think I'm pretty good at this relationship thing. I've worked at it. It's not always easy. Being on a team, so many different people from so many different parts of the world, country. You have to learn to get along with everybody. If you're gonna win together, got to learn to get along. And man, that's helped me so much. Even just the way somebody answers the phone on a cold call, like just being able to okay, a little tense, or hey, they're a little chipper. Let's be chipper too.
Yes.
Let's match
matching
that.
the energy.
Let's match it.
Yeah.
And being able to be flexible and responsive to what you are getting back, as far as whether it's the vocal cues on the phone or the body language in the meeting face to face, and be able to mirror and match it, without being mimicking. You can't be mimicking, but, it's funny, 'cause sometimes I'll take it too far and I'll find myself like, well, that came out with the Southern accent. Like, that's, wait a minute, like, you're taking it a little too far, Steve, but it's just, I don't know. Sometimes it just goes there, my accent's all jacked up, but, it's fun.
Well, thank you so much. It has been great speaking with you today.
If you're looking to level up your sales game, go check out Salesgravy University, the most robust library of on-demand sales courses anywhere, taught by top experts from around the world. Whether you're an individual rep, a small business, or leading a team, you'll find exactly what you need to prospect more, close bigger deals, and accelerate your career. And if you've never taken a course on Salesgravy University, use the promo code FREECOURSE for your first course on us. Head to learn.salesgravy.com and get started today. Thanks again to Steve Munn for joining us. I'm Ashley Blount, and we'll see you next time on the Salesgravy podcast.
Imagine having the ultimate competitive advantage. Imagine every piece of your content attracting ideal clients to you, not chasing them down. That's not a dream. It's what's possible with the right strategy. And if you haven't heard by now, Jeb and LinkedIn expert Bryn Tillman have written the playbook that will evolve the way you sell. Their new book, The LinkedIn Edge, is your ultimate resource for turning LinkedIn into a revenue-generating machine. You'll learn how to prospect with power, network with a purpose, and build a brand that attracts clients to you. Not only that, but they dive into the fundamentals of using AI so that you won't get left behind. Don't wait. The LinkedIn Edge is on sale everywhere you buy books.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to click like and subscribe so you never miss a single video. And if you want more sales training content, go to learn.salesgravy.com.